This project's looking at feeding grain to livestock while they're on forage crops or pasture. So looking at the economics of it, whether it's practical and whether we're going to get some production gains from it. We came from a situation where we'd just come out of the drought. Local land services had really taught most of our producers who are grass-fed beef producers or sheep producers to become, feedlotters. Talking to a number of different producers, we sort of thought that there was an opportunity for us to look at how we could improve weight gains on our forage crops by supplement feeding a grain ration with those forage crops. And that's how we came up with the project itself. We found some old research that sort of suggested that we might be able to lift weight gains maybe from 1 kilogram per head per day in a steer or heifer, potentially to 1.3, maybe a bit better. But also interested to see if we can actually extend the grazing days of a paddock. So by feeding grain, are we going to eat less grass and therefore be able to get higher stocking rates or a greater longevity of that paddock? So we were interested in the economics to make sure that the producers were going to actually get value from it. And we also wanted to know the amount of time the producers spent. So within the group, we've got a range of producers. Most of our producers are in the mixed farm space. We've got some really large-scale operations down to people like myself who have off-farm incomes. So there's a really good spread of demographics. We're all sort of within 100 kilometres of each other, but because we've got the Warrumbungles in between us, we've got this massive spread of rainfall. We've got a massive spread of soil types, but some of the real key issues that we're all having trouble with are the same.
A producer demonstration site is a collaborative initiative where producers work together to trial and demonstrate new or improved farming practices on their own land. The goal is to improve productivity, sustainability and profitability across the industry by providing evidence-based insights directly from the field. As our producers reflect on their learnings, the project culminated in a field day to share the changes they've implemented.
PDS program, I was quite interested in whether there was actually going to be an economical benefit feeding grain on green feed. What we've learnt, we hadn't fed a lot of grain previously. It can be a great tool to get us through the dry times throughout the year, and I think it's been great. We've predominantly only supplemented hay, but now we're using grain. So I think with hay and grain together, it really gets us through these tougher times throughout the year. We had an issue with acidosis, not feeding a lot of grain previously, weren't overly too aware on it. So learning to get this induction phase on grain is very important. We're probably not feeding on good crops, we're probably more feeding when the crops are sort of a bit behind on their quality, just to get them through to our next crop. Probably the hardest part about this dry plot was getting 2 paddocks, very similar conditions, to actually have a fair trial for the cattle. So that was a bit of a challenge, but I think we came as good as we could get at the time. I'd love to be involved with the PDS site again. I think it's quite a big benefit getting all producers in a very similar area all together. We can get a lot of results that are from a lab or theoretical results, but you don't really know until you actually put them into practice on your own property. So that's why I think PDS sites like these ones, where they're actually on our own properties, is a great demonstration.
By being involved in the PDS program, I was hoping to get a better understanding of the interaction between feed quality and animal performance on the feed base, and then improve production through matching feed quality and animal requirements. From the program I learnt that there's a close correlation between feed quality and animal performance, and as the feed quality tapers off with a little bit of supplementation of grains or other products, we can improve that animal production and performance and extend it longer into the season and better utilise some of the pastures and grazing crops as they mature. From my learnings of the PDS, by supplementing feeding livestock, I'll be able to improve performance, production, get better utilisation of my pastures and my grazing crops, and extend that grazing period further into the season. One of the unexpected learnings, I suppose, was around that animal behaviour and the importance of identifying shy feeders. Like, whilst the cattle had plenty of self-feeder space, it didn't mean that everyone was getting a fair feed. And through trail feeding, I was better able to monitor the animals, and you could just see over time how they all came to the trail. And it's given me confidence that it is possible in my operation or my place that I can effectively trail feed grain as a supplement to cattle and get performance out of the livestock. It's just reinforced the importance of feed tests to know where the pasture or grazing crop, where it's up to, the confidence to trail feed grain, and ensuring feed quality and animal type and animal requirements are better met. I found the PDS program a really valuable thing to be a part of. I would be more than happy to host another PDS or be involved in another PDS. There's a lot of great learnings that can be done. The main benefit of the PDS program I found was, I call it the grassroots experiment of it, the day-to-day operations on farms where we don't always get everything right, all under time constraints, and so it's not a scientific, sterile environment. This is everyday farming operations that are faced with many challenges that we've got to try to make all this stuff fit into.
There's a really good opportunity for us to get all these guys together, let them learn from each other, and we've covered so many different topics that were external to what this project's about. For me, that's one of the real benefits from a producer demonstration side, is the producers and getting them together.